and One Whiteboard are officially back in action after a brief hiatus in May. Today's video, we're talking about motorcycles that need to make a comeback. Logan, why are we talking about this today?
Because I think there's a single question on every motorcyclist's mind. What are we gonna get first? A single-cylinder Ducati sport bike or GTA 6?
It's a very valid question. So we're talking iconic nameplates, bikes that were maybe ahead of their time, and motorcycles that were just simply discontinued a little bit too early. So we're gonna run through 10 of them today. They're in no particular order. And if you guys can see, today I numbered it correctly. You guys caught me on the last episode where I don't even know what I was doing with those numbers.
Sleep deprivation too.
I'm currently sleep deprived right now, so the jokes are gonna be good today. We're also gonna tell you if we would purchase these motorcycles. We're gonna put a little check or an X if they were to come back today, if we would go out and buy them. Let's start with the first motorcycle on the list. First up on the list, we're starting with a D-Gen motorcycle, Logan. Perhaps a classy D-Gen motorcycle. The alternative to a Turbo Hayabusa or an H2, and of course, I gotta talk about it. It's the Yamaha VMAX. 1700 cc's, I think, of V4 Fury, like 200 horsepower. I think if any motorcycle were to come back today and do pretty damn well, it'd be the VMAX.
And I think the VMAX was truly discontinued far too soon. Like if you think about Yamaha's lineup, they don't really have that like ultra flagship halo bike besides the R1M. And even the R1, it's a little long in the tooth these days. I think Yamaha deserves to have the epic, savage, unhinged V4 muscle cruiser in their lineup.
It's true. It's an iconic motorcycle. It went through two different generations. The original in the 80s, I think if you lived through the time, I've seen the videos, the commercial where it's like it's lighting up the rear tire on fire, it's going off the drag strip, like truly aura farming for the
100%.
moment. And I think now, we're caught up in the S1000RR, the cloud chasing bikes, but truly, maybe it's an old head move, but
Maybe.
VMAXs, when you see one, it is a rare occasion, a very cool occasion. I don't see them that often, but they're really sweet.
Yeah, and I think the Japanese like metric cruiser thing is deserving of like a new sort of representative. You know what I mean? Like we don't need the rivets, we don't need the the hokey fake cooling fins on a liquid cooled V8. We just need a new Japanese interpretation of a really awesome bike that like American mark, because that was the whole thing, was designed in California, was aimed at the American muscle car guy. I think we deserve it. I think Japanese manufacturers need to be represented in this way, and I think it'd be cool, it'd like rival the Diavol kind of, in this sci-fi cyberpunk.
Rocket 3,
Rocket 3 too.
It's a defined category, like big muscle cruiser, and I feel like it hasn't gotten the love it deserves. I have heard on the grapevine that the only reason Ducati makes the Diavol is because their North American president is kind of just like, he's a California guy, and he was like, we gotta make this bike. The Italians wanted to act it, as far as I know. Of course they did. But yeah, like, the VMAX, huge air scoops, like crazy power levels, just like a disgustingly fast motorcycle. If you guys want, in the back catalog, we made a really cool video comparing the old gen VMAX and the new gen VMAX. I put my entire soul into that video. I spent like days scripting it, so go back in the catalog and watch that one if you haven't. But VMAX, I think, absolutely should come back. Because it was discontinued in 2020. I think it was just like a COVID thing. I think Yamaha just got scared and they're like, just screw it, just axe it. But I think, if it comes back under 20 grand, like, it could be cool.
With some slightly different styling tweaks,
yes.
Like just ever modernize it ever so slightly, I think it'd be awesome.
Yeah, but also keep that, because I think the second gen had it, like, the original, like, cursive chrome VMAX. That should be on there somewhere for sure. So as you guys can tell, big fan of the VMAX. We were talking about it behind the scenes that maybe that's 2027, late 2026 meme bike.
Right.
I don't know, if we have a good year, maybe we'll pop one out. We'll see. If it were to be created today, would I purchase one? Yes, without a doubt. I would go and get one. It would be really fun. I don't think I'd get it for me personally, but like, for the channel, for the memes, for sure. Would you go and get a VMAX?
I mean, I just don't think I have enough of a main character for a VMAX, you know what I mean? Like, I don't have the like Ghost Rider, like Nick Cage thing. Would I ride one? Totally, but I don't think it's something that I could comfortably keep in my stable.
It's kind of like a psycho bike to own. Like, it's like fourth or fifth motorcycle in the stable. Like, if you like just have a VMAX in your stable, that's a weird move.
Yeah, and before I get a VMAX, I'd have to get lifted truck, I'd have to get jet skis, I'd have to get like 3 kids, 2-step kids.
Ooh,
I got some things I have to achieve before I can ascend to the muscle cruiser life.
An old lady who wears leopard print tights,
100%.
Gotta do it. Moving on.
So my first pick today is a little bit more sensible than the VMAX, you could say.
Of course it is.
And it's the Honda Silverwing.
Silverwing.
And I must preface this by saying, not the maxi scooter. Honda's used the Silverwing name 2 different times in the past. I'm talking about the sort of lightweight sport touring bike. So it was the sister bike to the Goldwing, silver, second place, whatever. It originally used transverse V-twin, that like weird poor man's Gucci they used in the 80s. My thinking, bring it back using the parallel twin from the Transalp and the CB750. Taller suspension, wind protection, 17-inch wheels, tubeless. It'd be sweet. It would essentially be the bike I want my Transalp to be.
No, they should do 17s tubed.
Yeah,
to continue with like the Transalp's ridiculousness of being tubed. No, this would be super cool. And I've been talking about it for a few years now. The sort of middleweight sport touring category, I think right now currently super slept on, will become a force in motorcycling when people realize that adventure bikes, as fun as they are not really well suited for the riding they do. And honestly, I think they could do this as a Europe-only release to counter the Tracer 7 GT that they have, because I think that bike is great. We don't get it here in America, but that's kind of like all the motorcycle you'd ever need. But I do think that what they should do with this bike that I think works really well nowadays, I was thinking about the new Norton Manx R the other day, and everyone's like, the styling is perfect because there's no arrow, there's no winglets, it's so clean. The Silverwing, like such a, sophisticated nameplate. It should have it should come in like silver and be super the styling would be really important, because the sport touring middleweight thing can be very dorky if done incorrectly. So this could be a cool opportunity.
Yeah, but I think it'd be, rival bikes like the Tiger Sport 800, but for the more sensible, Honda-loving, risk-averse nerd.
Because it kind of fits, we had the Hornet 750 here last year, and it was like such a great bike, did everything it's supposed to do. I've ridden your Transalp several times, and it's like a bike that's between those two in price, in capability, is like, what else would you ever need? Like so good.
I think it'd be a layup.
Yeah, layup. So would you get one or just swap your Transalp for that?
I would.
Okay. Logan's going to go and get a Silverwing. Me personally, I need more juice.
Yeah.
I need more character. I need my bikes to be dumb and stupid and usually Italian or British or whatever. My personal bikes are all dumb. Even my stunt Grom, just dumb. All right, you will see a theme. There's a lot of Hondas on today's video because Honda's made a bunch of really cool motorcycles in the past and they kind of lost their way a little bit. Coming back a little bit, maybe get that V3 model. But this one I want to talk about, and all of you old heads who love racing already know where I'm going with this. Colin Edwards World Superbike, you already know. The RC51 needs to make a comeback, but not in its original big V-twin configuration, Logan. I understand that Honda's not going to go out there and make a brand new V-twin platform. That's really ridiculous. What I think they could do is a sort of plus-sized, not-so-super sport bike using the 1100 motor. And they're already making this in Japan. It's the Hawk 11. It's that single-round headlight, cafe racer style one. But I would like to see a slightly hopped up version with the 1100, lightweight, full fairings, like something cool and sporty and fun that isn't trying to be like a super racer type of thing. Even though the RC51 was like homologated, you could buy like a race kit that made like 150 ponies. It's really nutty stuff, but I think that would be a bike that, we say this all the time, meets the moment.
Yeah, 100%.
Something cheaper, something fun, something that the Honda lover could be like, oh, like instead of buying a Fireblade, I could get that. Like that'd be pretty cool.
Way more sense for Honda's lineup.
Yeah, exactly. So something with like 110, 120 horsepower. Maybe something like the not so super sport thing, because Honda doesn't really have anything like that right now. So I think RC51 comeback. Make it real flashy. Give it like the Fireblade paint job and all that stuff. Could be cool. What do you think?
No, I think that'd be really cool. Yeah, I mean, I think Honda should start axing like the old 4-cylinder holdovers that they've the 650 and stuff.
I think it's a matter of time on that.
And kind of invest in some of these newer, more contemporary interpretations of some classic bikes.
Yeah. I think a crazy move would be, because that V3R is going to be a naked bike, put that into a fully faired bike just
be pretty sweet.
for shit and giggles. Pull a Kawasaki, just complete a side quest for no reason.
Honda used to do that too.
They used to do that. Maybe they're trying to do it again. I tell you what, if that V3R ever does come to fruition, I'm putting my name. The deposit is going immediately. I got to get that bike because that's going to be so interesting. All right, on to RC51. I would get something like this if it were to come back, but probably only as like a giveaway bike. I don't think it would find its way in my personal stable, so I'm going to put our classic question mark.
Yeah, I don't think you could ever personally own a Honda.
I don't think so.
Beyond the ground, but that doesn't count.
Yeah, it doesn't count. Yeah. So, would you get a RC51 Honda Sport Bike?
I mean,
fully fair?
I think it's kind of cool. It's more interesting to me than, a traditional, 4-cylinder, super hopped up sport bike. Maybe that's sort of the gateway drug I need, something kind of sporty, but still realistic and practical. I'd say put me down for
You like that Panigale V2?
I did like that Panigale V2 a lot.
You did. I'm going to put you down here.
So again, this is turning into a Honda simp fest.
There's other bikes. There's not just Hondas. There's
not just
bikes.
Hondas. I know that would tank retention there. Oh, all Hondas? Close out. There's more than Hondas. Don't turn off. But this one is a Honda, and is the Honda Hawk. The Honda Hawk is a really cool motorcycle.
Super
short-lived in Honda's history. This bike lived in like the late 80s, couple years, 3-4 years, I think.
Yeah.
Way ahead of its time. Single-sided swing arm, V-twin engine, aluminum perimeter frame, 650-ish cc's. Like it's like a motorcycle you'd see being made today, but probably with like a parallel twin.
Yeah.
And again, I think this sort of meets the moment, fills a gap in Honda's lineup. Kick the 650 down the road, use that new parallel twin in something that's sporty, fun, more sporty than the Hornet, and maybe a little bit more. Yeah, just some of those like callbacks to Honda's glory days,
Yeah.
Like, would anything realistic have a single-sided swing arm? Likely no. But like they could find ways to make it more interesting, right?
Yeah.
And set apart from this sort of homogenous like middleweights that we see right now from the Big Four.
Yeah. Oh, that would kill, because that Hornet's frame is really, it's way better than there's any right to be. Like I took it on track and I was like, wow, this is like really good, like really, really stable. I have this dream of like, the Hornet engine, like hopped up a little bit, like beautiful full fairing, single-sided swing arm. And it's like Honda Hawk, I'm like, oh wow, that could sell really, really well.
Right.
Yeah, R7 competitor, R660 competitor.
Right.
I mean, I think it would blow both of those bikes out of the water, because that engine is so good, especially if you flash it, 90-something horsepower, Honda reliability, the Unicam system is really neat. That could just eat everybody's lunch. Basically, GSX-8R, gone. I mean, this is, I feel like if Honda doesn't make this, it's a giant missed opportunity.
But yeah, I think it'd be really cool. And again, just something different, right? Something different, but also not a total oddball that no one would ever buy.
Yeah. Because if somehow Honda were to make, it's a new, like literally bring back like the aluminum perimeter frame, the single-sided swing arm, the bespoke V-twin engine, the bike's gonna cost like 14 grand.
Right.
And it's like no one's gonna buy it,
Sure.
But again, you cross-platform, use some of those things from the other bikes. Could have something pretty cool. Would I buy one? No. Too boring. Too boring. I'm
even if they did go full blown from the factory, like the XSR 900 GP retro racer style, and it was like $11,000.
No, because if I'm gonna get a sport bike,
it's gotta
be
Sure.
it's gotta be juiced up to the max. Because then, like, if it's a road bike, then I just want something chill and cool and normal. So, no, I would not get it. What about you?
I mean, I think I'm thinking the same sort of thing as, like, what we said about the RC51 reboot or whatever. Some sort of not so super sport, kind of racy, but super streetable, lots of torque, good sound, but Honda reliability. I think it could be pretty cool. So, you can put me down.
I'll put you down for a check. Moving on. Okay, I've been talking about this one for a few years now, and it is a bit of a cop-out because we're saying, bikes need to come back, and they made these in such low production numbers, but there is a case to be made, and it is the Ducati Supermono. So Logan, in case you don't know, or anyone else at home doesn't know, Ducati back in the, I think it was early 90s, maybe mid 90s, there was this bespoke racing series called The Sound of Singles, where Ducati hand-built about 67 single-cylinder, ultra-lightweight race bikes. These things made about 75 horsepower, weighed 267 pounds.
Crazy.
And, I'm just seeing a very specific single-cylinder engine in the lineup today, and I'm like, hey, what if you took that, put it in a race bike chassis, made it, 267 is kind of crazy to pull off for a street bike, but like, I think 330, 340, fully streetable, call it $15,000, $16,000 out the door. Like give it like Panigale price basically, but literally market it as like a track day, ultra lightweight kind of thing. Could be super unique. I just think Ducati is afraid to make a single cylinder sport bike. I don't know why. They got to do V-twins or V4s.
Right. But I think it would be cool. And I think it's what everybody was sort of hoping for. Maybe not a Supermono specifically, but they wanted Ducati to utilize that new single-cylinder engine that's in the Hypermotide 698, and then they made a public statement saying they never would.
Yeah.
But never say never.
It's true, and I think they just came out with they have the Desmo 450 single-cylinder motocross bike, and I believe they just did an enduro version of it with like a headlight. So I'm just like, you're so close.
Right.
Like why are you like teasing us with these single-cylinder offerings? Like just like Ducati makes sport bikes. You know, I don't know why they're trying to complete side quests in motocross or whatever. It's like just make the sport bike that I know you can with that single cylinder. But I'll tell you what, Logan, if this came out, it's an immediate yes for me.
Okay.
Absolutely. Because there's actually a bike called the Kramer 690 something or another, whatever. I don't remember the exact name. Sleep deprived. Cut me some slack. It's the single cylinder bike that Kramer makes based on a KTM product. They then made the 890 version with the 2 cylinders, but the single cylinder version of it is like that ultra lightweight racer thing. So there is like some action in this category. It's not like a complete oddball.
Sure, yeah.
So would you get one?
No, of course not.
Of course not. Of course not. Why are we even asking that?
Why are we even asking?
Whoo, boys, I'll tell you what, I never get tired of listening to this Aprilia 210 V4. It sounds so good. And if you want to make it sound so good in your own driveway, it is a giveaway bike on my website, yamanoob.co. Click the link down below, become a member today, support the show, and get access to win our incredible Aprilia 210 V4 factory. Now let's get back to the show.
I think this is the last Honda. But again, Honda's made so many great bikes. You know, some of them are definitely worthy of comebacks. Next bike, VFR 800.
The venerable.
Why would anyone ever buy a parallel twin kind of sport touring motorcycle in 2026 and on if there was a V4 alternative?
Yes, like brand new. We're not saying like, oh, instead of buying, a GSX-8R, go get an old VFR. I'm like, no.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But if it was still sold brand new, yeah, like complete layup.
Yeah.
And what I don't get is Honda built so many of these.
Yeah,
the R&D is fully paid for.
For decades.
For decades. So I'm like, it must be that they have trouble meeting emissions with that engine. And they were just like, nah, it's not worth it to make. But yeah, V4, single-sided swing arm on, I think, most generations. Some of them had two-sided, I think, but most of them are single-sided.
VFR owners will let us know for sure.
I'll let it, yeah, there's like so many generations. I'm not super up to date on the VFR lore. I know some about the bike. Yeah, fully fared, somewhat comfortable to ride. That definitely sounds like a bike that would work today, like really, really well.
100%.
Yeah.
Especially they updated it in sense of like, lightened it up a little bit, found ways to, modernize it or refine it a little bit. Because clearly, if anybody has the technology and the time and resources to do that, it's Honda. You know what I mean? And then, super competitive price. Again, I think it'd be a knockout hit.
Yeah, I think the issue was trying to make it meet emissions compliance and doing all that R&D for the engine platform probably would have pushed the price of this thing quite a bit.
For sure.
And then all of a sudden, if it's like a $14,000, $15,000 proposition, it starts to not make a lot of sense in the market. But with the amount of character the engine has, the layout of the bike, the vibe, the VFR there's a reason why people like that bike
100%.
so much.
And I think Honda's got to bring it back before CF Moto does something similar. You know
Right,
what I mean?
yeah, no, for sure. That new CF Moto 750 is almost like a VFR style bike,
Sort of, yeah.
So if the VFR 800 were to come back, would I get one? No, not enough juice. If I was gonna get a sport touring 4-cylinder style motorcycle, honestly, the BMW XR, the 1000 XR would probably be the one I'd get personally. I just need a little bit more.
H2SX.
H2SX, it's a bit too fat for my taste, yeah. But the VFR, I think, for like a second motorcycle is like super cool for a lot of people. And if they were to come out with one, would be really interesting. We'd start to recommend that a lot for sure. So that's gonna be a pass for me. Would you get one? Because you talking about you kind of want something sporty.
Yeah, it sounds like I'm interested in something somewhat sporty, but still pretty usable and approachable. 110, 120-ish horsepower. So it sounds like it's something I'd probably be interested in.
Yeah, because the thing right now is if you want V4 sounds, you have to commit to like a biblical amount of power. Like the 210 V4, like I love it, super cool. It's a lot of bike. You gotta, every time you jump on, you're like, it's like you need a cigarette when you're done riding it. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty hairy experience. So moving on. All right, let's check the runtime. I can now jump on my diatribe about bikes I want to talk about because we no longer have to worry about retention, Logan.
Sure.
I think a bike that needs to come back that Ducati absolutely could do, I've got a lot of opinions on this since I just picked one up recently, is an air-cooled monster. What are we doing, Ducati? Why is the Monster now just like some milk toast, liquid cooled V-twin cross platform with everything else you make? Oh, it's lightweight, Logan. Oh, it's got the tech. The Monster was never about that.
Nope.
The Monster was about street appeal, curb appeal, cool, urban aesthetic and dynamics, a parts bin motorcycle built as a hodgepodge from sport bikes and race bikes that they had. And what are we doing today? None of that. None of that. And I don't want to hear it because they currently make the 803cc L twin, pumping them out in the Scrambler, so clearly those can meet emissions compliance. Why don't we get an 803cc air-cooled Monster? Or maybe, Logan, bring back the 1078cc air-cooled L twin engine, 2-valve Ducati Desmo. I think it'd be a knockout hit because the Monster right now is not a Monster. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, as someone that likes the more simplistic, analog, borderline, antiquated things, motorcycling and everything else, I would be much more attracted to an old school grassroots Monster as Ducati originally intended. Rival something like similar in its ethos, but different in its execution, something like the Guzzi V7 or whatever, in terms of, like an old school kind of, heirloom piece, all about the aura way more than performance,
Yeah.
I would be far more attracted to that than, an Italian MT-09 or whatever the Monster is now,
No, I completely agree, yeah. And I think it's just a matter of time until Ducati kind of starts on this more like heritage, old school kind of play, because they have so much cool heritage and history and models that they've made. I think right now the leadership at that company is more interested, and rightfully so, in like racing, cutting edge development, making everything as like, premium and crazy and as bespoke as possible. They're building $250,000 Centenarios or whatever. Very cool, very unique. Only Ducati can pull it off. We love that. But I think that the whole point of the Monster was to create an entry point into Ducati.
Yeah,
I feel like they've kind of lost their entry point. Yeah. And that's fair. It's a super luxurious brand. You might say, oh, people need to aspire to a Ducati. They can't you shouldn't go just be able to get
in
one
this
as
economy?
your first bike. And that's the thing. Like they've really just focused on the top end of the market, which again makes sense. But I think it would be really cool. So if Ducati brought back an air-cooled Monster, would I get one? Absolutely, because I just bought a 2009 Ducati Monster 1100S. So if there was a brand new one available, man, I'd snap that up in an instant. Although mine does look showroom fresh, as you can attest.
100%, it does.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, would you still buy if they brought back an air-cooled Monster, but it had like the stupid TFT that's in the Scrambler?
Oh man. Oh, on the Scrambler one, that one's rough. I don't like that one at all. I guess. Yeah, but that would be a hard pill to swallow. Would you get it?
Yeah, for sure. I think it'd be cool.
Sweet. All right. I think that's our first. Yeah, that's our first one that both of us would go and get.
Total alignment.
Total alignment. Love it.
And now we're far enough along in the video where I can talk about something that is important to me and important to no one else, and that is the Harley-Davidson Sportster 1200. Harley-Davidson's currently bricked up. If you've heard, they announced their back.
Jesus, Logan.
They announced their back to bricks program or strategy, if you will. I don't know all the details of that. I'm not really concerned about the details of that. I like the Sportster, and that's pretty much it. But part of this program is to bring back the Sportster 883. And everyone's like, why? That was like the worst version that no one likes. The Sportster 1200 is the perfect execution of what that bike is supposed to be. The 883, especially stock, is notoriously underpowered, kind of a slog. Someone gets on that, and then they think, I need a big daddy bagger. This bike has got no torque or whatever. The 1200, you don't necessarily feel its shortcomings in the same way. And if they're gonna do this heritage play, bring back the air-cooled Evo, I think it should be the 1200.
No, 100%. Yeah, like we had in 2020 a 883 that we did as a giveaway, which is the first Harley we bought on the channel and all that. And then I think 2 years after that we did the 1200, but we also modified the 883 to have the 1275 Hammer Performance Kit, which was really, really cool. I completely agree. The 1200 is like, I remember riding the 1275 and I was like, this is really neat, like hopped up muscle car vibes. But the 1200 is just like it's not the same level of performance, but it's like that from the factory. All you really need to do is just like an exhaust, a couple things here and there, and it's like pretty well sorted. It's a very interesting motorcycle to ride. And I do really like that. I like bikes that are unique and interesting. It feels heavy and it feels like it's hewn of metal. It's a very, very cool bike. And I think it doesn't make any damn sense why you'd bring back the 883 and not the 1200. Maybe they're worried that if they do the 1200, it'll just like bump up against their 975, because then mentally it's like that's a bigger number than the 975. It's confusing in the lineup. Maybe that's it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sort of psychology play. Like they need it to feel like a beginner bike or like their first bike. And like I think the 1200, would infringe on the new Sportsters as well as maybe some of the lower end Softail models. I assume that has something to do with it, because I think if everybody you get an 883 and then you're like, yeah, I need something else.
Yeah.
You know.
Would I get a Sportster 1200 if they re-released it? You know what's funny is I was thinking about if they re-released the 883, like literally exactly as it was when it was discontinued. I don't think anyone's ever done that before. Where like they discontinue a bike and they're like, just kidding, we're gonna just make it exactly as it was before. Right. So if they made a 1200 like exactly as they did before, I don't think I would. But if they updated it a little bit, you know, like, because the 1200 has just like the speedometer, right? It doesn't even have a tach, right? I think in the middle it's a readout that says the RPM.
On the new ones, maybe.
So I'm going to put a question mark for me. I think interesting, compelling, but I'm not fully sold.
Right.
What about you?
I mean, considering I already have a Sportster, no. But if I didn't have a Sportster, maybe, right?
Imagine paying like 2026 prices. That's what I was saying about it coming back and it's being the exact same, but being sold at like 14 grand. You're like, oh my God. Right. So I think I'll also put, this one is the most mercurial double question mark.
I'm not sure I'm bricked up enough for this.
You're not bricked up enough. Yeah, you need to go visit Kawasaki, get your bottom ends blown out, and then you'll be fully bricked up, ready for a Sportster 1200. Moving on. All right, I'll keep this one short and brief because we are at the end of the video and I've talked about this at great length. This is a Yamaha that I would like to see return. I don't understand why it was discontinued, and I don't understand why they don't re-release something to compete in the market, because there's lots of other Japanese bikes like it. It is, of course, the WR250R, a bike that I deeply regret getting rid of. I really wish I'd kept my WR because they don't make them anymore, and now if I wanted to get another one, I gotta buy a used one. Although the other day, Logan, I was on Cycle Trader, and I saw a WR250R that was bone stock with 2,200 miles that was here in Texas, and I came this close to just, I was like, what if I just go get it right now, because that's the last bike I really want for my little stable that I'm building. Round it out a little bit. So in a world of CRF 300s, KLX 300s, what the hell is Yamaha doing not making a 300cc WR? And that's why I put 300cc plus right there. Go and eat KTM's lunch, go and eat Honda's lunch, just go and, whip up. Literally, you don't even need to do
DRZ4 too.
The DRZ4, like you don't need to do much with this bike. Literally, just bring back. If we're bringing back Sportsters exactly as they were, bring back the WR exactly as it was. Punch out the engine a little bit. Give it that crazy VVT you put in the WR125 for some reason. Update the styling a little bit. Sell it for like $9,400. You can edge up to that DRZ4 territory because it's a high spec bike, and I think you're done. That's it. Yeah. So that. Total layup, not much else to say about it. What do you think about the WR?
No, I think it'd be cool. I mean, in my mind, like growing up, it's like there was Harley-Davidsons and there were dirt bikes. So like that's kind of similarly, like I'm like, I think having a Supermoto would be cool or something. Like I don't ride on the freeways that much, whatever. It's like a bop around town thing. So I think, if they brought back the WR, it'd be an interesting proposition for sure. Yeah. So I'd say put me down for a check.
Cool, I'll check it. Boom, double check.
So sometimes it feels like we're beating a dead horse with some of these topics. One of those lately has been sort of dogging on Triumph for kind of losing their ethos or their cachet and kind of going a little bit more corporate, more mainstream, appealing to the masses, if you will. Good for business, yes. Good for making cool stuff, not so much. Part of that thing is they no longer make the Thruxton. Unless you count the Thruxton 400. They do make the Thruxton.
You want a real Thruxton.
A real Thruxton. And this is pretty simple of just like, it represented Triumph really well, right? It's sort of the apex of the modern classic. It threw everything they had at it. It had suspension. You don't really need suspension that good on a sort of cafe racer bike. No. It was really expensive, but it was like tactile. It felt like a real motorcycle, you know what I mean? And like classic and like overly built for no reason other than the fact that they can. I think things like that are important as things get very like, mass produced and global manufacturing and broad appeal and cross-platforming and all this stuff, and everything just gets very kind of watered down and meh. Like the Thruxton's like the antithesis of that.
Yeah, definitely. I actually came, in my several years long quest to find my new street motorcycle that ended with the Ducati. I came super close to a Thruxton so many times. I went back and watched videos I made on the Thruxton RS that we reviewed, and I remember like on the GoPro, I'm like walking up, and like it literally looks like there's like a halo around it. It's so shiny and chromed, and just like it's so beautiful, and like the wire spoke wheels. There's so much going on with that bike that other bikes just can't even touch at all. And yeah, like for Triumph to not make something like that now is just really sad. And also like, yeah, the Thruxton name itself, you know, it was raced in the Isle of Man, like it's the original cafe racer. Say whatever you will about Triumph, nobody does modern classics as good as Triumph. And yes, there's a price premium, but there's a reason for that. If you ride those bikes back to back with your average Royal Enfield, even your Japanese modern classic offerings, what is Z650 RS, you know, like the Triumph is just way above those bikes because that's what they do best. That's what they do. And it is a damn shame, yeah, like you said, to have Triumph take that name to something highly globalized and commercialized and cheaper. I do think it's a bastardization of it.
And I think the last thing I'll say about it, it's like, obviously manufacturers are not disregarding like the upper end of the market, right?
No.
But it's always tons of power, more tech, you know, tons of features and things. That is what exists in like the sort of upper echelon of motorcycling. So for something that exists within that realm almost as sort of a flagship halo product, but is like simple and, you know, like all the money goes into like the touch points and the finishes and the paint and like the wheels, and it's like, that feels really cool to me, you know?
Yeah. And it's crazy, like, you know, you start stacking those things up, like you do the finish on the wheels, you do the touch points, you take the extra time and effort to those little details, it really adds up. Because then the whole experience is so much more interesting than just your run-of-the-mill bike. And then you go back to the cheaper stuff and then you really start to notice it. You're like, oh, like these levers are like printed aluminum or whatever, you know, all the little things, the switch cluster is like cheapo plastic, you know? Like your average CF Motos. Just kidding. I don't know why I beat up on CF Moto every week. But boys, that's going to wrap up our list today for bikes. Wait, we didn't even say if we'd get a Thruxton or not. Hold on, we got to do this. I would definitely. Yeah, if they brought it back.
I would too.
Definitely would. Cool. Both checks. So what double checks did we get? We got the air-cooled monster, the Thruxton. That's it. No, the WR250R. That was also a double check. The Sportster remains an enigma with 2 question marks. And yeah, everything else was kind of mixed, which is fun. But what do you guys think? Which one of these should come back? Do you have a motorcycle you think should come back that we didn't mention in today's video? I do appreciate you guys checking out today's episode. We'll catch you in the next one. See you later.